Tell me when you're ready.
Ready.
Okay, I can't see you, but here we go. Go live. By staying in this meeting. Okay, maybe when I press it, then I'll see you. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Setting up your meeting. Done. Here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of 11X. And today we have Christoph Nauer, and we spoke with him last week, and he helps you with life balance and all 6 areas of your life. What I'm going to do, Christoph, is I'm going to have you just kind of reiterate what we talked about last week for those of you who attended. And if you're coming on live, please come straight to this Zoom room. So you just go to my group and just click the button and you'll get on. So today we're going to be talking about prioritizing, but let's go ahead first, Christoph, and recap what we discussed last week.
Sure, absolutely. Happy to do that. Thanks, Stephanie. So last week we talked about the 5 steps to double your productivity. And we briefly talked about the importance of having everything in writing. So list all your time commitments, the famous to-do list, right? Pretty much everybody here has probably heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. So my trainer and mentor, Brian Tracy, is old-fashioned. He says to himself, I'm just quoting him, he's using pen and paper, and myself, I prefer that too, but sometimes I do a Word document. But once you have that, then you need to prioritize. And so we talk about this today. We couldn't go into it last week. Once you have that list, you got to go through it and prioritize. When you're done with that, then you have to assign a time to each task. And Murphy's Law says that it always takes longer than you think it does. So you're better off scheduling 45 minutes instead of 30 or whatever it is. Then you have to schedule that, put these things on the schedule, look at what goes where you have room for it. And last but not least, follow your schedule. And when I say follow your schedule, this is one of the things my clients struggle with quite a bit, because they sometimes create a schedule and then give power over to other people to derail them and, to interrupt their schedule. And so they have to learn what's a real emergency and what is a perceived emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Clients, they always want to get a hold of you right away. They don't want to wait and don't want to make an appointment. But that's not realistic anymore nowadays. Okay. We talked a little bit about, the importance of tackling the big things first. Eat that frog. That's from Brian Tracy's book. We also talked about how important it is to complete a task and not to start and stop, because it can take up to 7 times longer to complete a task. And then for those of you who have huge, big tasks to do, then how do I take care of something big like that? Well, how do you eat an elephant? So we talked about chunking it down, 1 bite at a time.
I remember that.
Right? Yeah. So we just take small bites, and so maybe set aside an hour or 2 a day. And then when we've done that, then we go out to something different. Our attention span about you, but I know about myself, after about a couple hours, it kind of wanes, so having a shift and do something different really helps. And that means you got two hours closer to completing that big task. And then the next day, get 2 hours closer to that big task. Okay. So that's in a nutshell, the kind of stuff we talked about last week. So today, my hope was that you would come with your to-do list so that we can now go through it and prioritize. Now, as you probably know, there's a gazillion ways of doing that out there. Okay. There's the one method that I talk to my clients about is the one I learned from Brian Tracy when I got certified by him as a time management master. And it's very simple. It's basically just A, B, C, D, E. That's his method. Now, it may sound simple, but, knowing how my clients struggle and what their challenges are, it's not always that simple.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I know for the people who are watching, how about I give you my to-do list and you can help me prioritize it so that we can
Sure.
give the people an example of how this works, right? So
Sure.
do I tell you all the things that I have to do, want to do, everything that I have to do in a day, a week? How would you suggest I do this?
So let's say this is usually the process that I recommend my clients go through once a week. For some people, it's the last thing to do on Friday before they leave the office. They plan their next week so that they go home and can relax for the weekend because they know what their next week looks like. They have a plan for it. They know exactly what they will do on Monday, how to start the day, et cetera, et cetera. So if your to-do list is what you want to accomplish next week, then yes, we would like to look at everything. What's everything that's on there.
Okay.
Because one of the things we do, we actually start at the bottom. We start with E.
Oh.
What can we eliminate? Because most of the time, I don't know about you, but I put all kinds of stuff on there, and when I look at it and really stop for a minute and ask myself, does this really have to happen next week? Or can that wait another week or another month? All of a sudden I realize, yeah, it's not that pressing. It'd be nice, but so that's why you start with E and see what you can scrape off. And then that already makes it much shorter by the time to get to the next component, which is D.
So, okay. So what if it's something that you don't, okay, like let's say, for example, it's clean off my desk. Is that considered? Yes, is it considered super important to clean up my desk? Because I know it can wait and I can be effective, but I'll be more effective if I clean off my desk, right? So is that a C, D, E? What would you consider that?
Thank you. That is a great example. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why a lot of people procrastinate on that. But having a clear, organized workspace makes you much more productive. And so because you don't have all kinds of clutter on your workspace, that can be a distraction. So you might be all organized and sit at your computer and work, but then maybe your eye falls on something on your workspace and, oh yeah, and off you go. Follow that train of thought, but if it's not there, then you can't see it. So out of sight, out of mind. So yes, I think that I would probably put in the A category because it affects your productivity.
See, that's I think this is a good question because I think some people don't know if that's considered an A or an E because it doesn't have to be done. But yes, actually, it does have to be done because that's going to make you more of an effective at your job. But what about working out and eating healthy and all these other things? Where would you say that goes?
I love that you're bringing up this stuff. And so this is some of the stuff we're actually going to talk about in more detail in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
But yes, you're absolutely correct. This is where so many times, first of all, you're ahead of the game because you actually have it on your to-do list. Okay. I mean, that already sets you apart from the masses.
Oh.
Most people, doing something healthy for yourself is an afterthought. When I have time left over, I'm going to work out. Or when I have time left over, I'm going to go watch a movie that I've been wanting to see with my friend for forever. So, in the last session, we talk about the importance of that. But since you brought it up, we'll address it today too.
Okay.
This is critically important.
Okay.
Because if you don't take care of your health, who will? Nobody, right?
Right. Yeah, no, I didn't used to put that on my to-do list. I would say, oh, okay, well, when I have time. But now as I try to organize my schedule, I try to put in, walk in this 30-minute time block or something like that.
Yes.
But something like pick up the laundry, I guess that's considered something that can wait another day, right? unless you absolutely needed the outfit for, for
Yeah,
the-
yes, exactly. So doing laundry is a perfect example. Yes, Bob, you have to do it at some point, Um, is that something that should be during your most productive time? Probably not. Maybe that could be something when you know, you pop it in the washer before you sit down and have dinner, or you know, or you pop in the washer before you go to bed. It'll be done in the morning when you get up.
So talking about prioritizing, when you do your list, Christoph, I'm curious, do you do your list the night before? Do you do yours like you talked about the Friday before for the work? How do you, Christoph, organize your life?
I like to do it so on Friday so that I can go into the weekend relaxed and my week is planned. So I know what it what it looks like. What helps too is at some point you want to create certain habits,
Okay.
because once, for instance, if the workout is a habit, you don't need to really put it on the to-do list anymore because it's autopilot. It's an autopilot. It has a space on your calendar. It's already reserved. It's already there. It's one of those non-negotiables. At some point, and that's one of the things I talk about a lot is have a morning routine. What does your morning look like before you start the work day? What do you do for yourself before you start the work day? As a business owner and entrepreneur, it's up to me. I can decide. If you're an employee, you have to show up at a certain time, usually, clock in at 8 or 8:30 or 9 or whatever it is. But the time before is yours. How do you use
Yes,
that?
I've always heard the importance of a morning routine. Some people say you should get up 30 minutes before you normally wake up to do your morning routine. What do you feel about that? How do you feel about that?
It all depends on what your morning routine looks like. So to give you an example, mine is half an hour of meditation.
Okay.
And that just kind of calms my mind. It's unbelievably relaxing. And sometimes afterwards, I think, oh, maybe I should just go back to sleep. And that's the temptation. Okay. So that's when the self-discipline kicks in and say, no, kick your butt out of bed. That's your first half hour. Now the second half hour is on for me, on my stationary bike.
Got it.
And during that time, for that half hour, I usually listen to Steve. What's his name?
Steve Seibold?
Steve Seibold.
Yes.
So I sit on my
This
bike.
book right here, right?
Yes, that's it. And
Look
so
right here.
Yep. So
This is a great
got
book. I'm plugging it right here. Well, since you,
please do. Yes, no, and I got his audio trainings, and so I listen to that for half an hour while I pedal. So I get this message in my head for a half an hour, and so and then afterwards, of course, shower, that kind of thing. But that's my morning routine. So I don't know what you want or what the listeners like. It's each person is different. But when you do that, it sets you up to play at a 10 or 9, which is what you want. When you do what so many people do, they hit the snooze button one more time, and at some point they can't because now they have to rush. So then the rush of the day starts. They rush from one thing to the next, and keep rushing and putting out fires all day long because they don't have a plan for the day. And that's so sad, because at the end of the day, they're exhausted and they feel like a failure because they didn't get the stuff done they have to get done. Okay.
I will admit that it's true. On the days that I do hit that snooze button, and I don't have a morning routine, my day gets all, it's talking about priorities, and then it's like, oh, and it just, yeah. So I'm with you, and I have been waking up same time every day. I have my morning routine. I read my book. I do my thing too. And it does help set not just my day up, but my mind up for having the right mindset for the day, which is so important.
Yes. No, that's you again. I think that's why you already set apart from the masses, you know. And the thing too is what most people don't know is, you know, 20 minutes longer in bed is not going to make a difference. You know, it takes at least a 45-minute sleep again to actually make a difference. So if you stay in the bed for another 10, 15, 20 minutes, you know, it actually, and I've experienced that myself, it actually makes you more tired than when you get up, when your body says, hey, it's morning, wake up, you know, and be like, I don't feel like it. So listening to our bodies is something that as I get older, I'm learning to do more and more, you know.
So that is a good question. So do you suggest, or do you yourself wake up when your body tells you to wake up, or from an alarm clock?
No, my body. I don't have an alarm clock.
Ah, see, I would like to try that.
It really is amazing. It's just, you know, maybe it's because of my age, but you know, I just wake up. And then
yeah, I was talking to my friend Sherry, my friend Sherry the other day, and she was saying she never uses an alarm. I'm just like, you don't use an alarm. I can't imagine not using an alarm clock, but her body always wakes up at the same time every day. And she, and energy and all of that stuff. And so, I'm going to try not
yeah,
using
it's amazing, you know. And the thing is, then it's at times that I don't listen. Oh, I don't feel like getting up yet, you know. So turn around again. But then about 20 minutes, half hour later, like, what am I doing? I can't go back to sleep. So why am I not starting my meditation and get the day going? You know. So I'm still processing all this myself. I'm not saying I'm there. But this is incredible how the body knows, hey, you're ready to go, you know? And two is, you know, in the light, it gets light earlier in the morning.
Yes.
So I wake up earlier. When it gets light later in the day, I wake up later. So isn't there a reason that there is some kind of a cycle that works, you know, life cycle and stuff? You know, there's times when you sleep longer because it's dark. You know, so go to bed when it gets dark and get up when it gets light. And, you know, so anyway, this is, I don't know, this is off topic.
I know I shifted thoughts, and I'm sorry. We're talking about priority,
no,
but I got so curious about.
No, this is good stuff. And so, you know, then once you scrape off the stuff that really can wait, that is not critical, and that's sometimes a challenge. And I think it can help to talk it out with somebody else. So if you have an accountability partner, you know, that really does help. You know, the next one is the D, you know, delegate. So a lot of my clients, I actually ask them to get a sticky note with a big D on it and put it on their computer so they can kind of stares back at them all the time. So don't do any kind of work that could be done by somebody else. Okay, but I could do it better. And yeah, well, really? Is your expertise doing your books? Is your expertise writing blog posts? Is your expertise social media marketing? If it's not, don't do it. Find somebody who can do that, who is an expert at it, and who knows how to do this, which I don't have a clue. Maintaining my website, putting blog posts on my website. Could I do it?
You said it. Like I try to tell people, like you got to focus on what you do best. And like you said, delegate the rest to people. First of all, they're better than you at it anyway. Let them do it so that you really can focus on what you do best. And at the same time, you're giving the opportunity to other people to make a little bit of money, and everybody ends up winning.
Yes, that plus you actually save time and money.
Yes.
That's the part that people don't recognize.
Yes, you do.
Because the time that you spend doing what you're not really good at is wasted. You can't get that back. Okay.
Absolutely. I agree. 100%.
You know, And then usually your rate of whatever you charge for your services is usually higher than what you pay somebody to handle your website or your social media. That means right there, you actually lose money by doing it yourself. So in my opinion, it's a lose-lose situation.
Okay,
So
excellent.
after the D, then I think we jump to the top part, the A tasks. Those are the critical ones. Those are, if they're not done, they significantly impact your business, but also your health, your well-being, and your relationships. So that's probably one of the things where I take a little bit of a different approach than Brian Tracy might. But so what you talked about earlier is your workout. Okay, that's a non-negotiable item. That's an A task, because
Okay.
that's something that makes you the person you're meant to be. You said it yourself. When I do it, I feel great afterwards. Same here. When I do it, I feel, oh, I did it. I kind of feel proud that I did it. I get my old butt on that bike and I go and pump it and sweat, go crazy. And I did it. And the times I, give in to my master's degree in excusitis, I feel like, oh, here we go again. So it's there's a lot of mental stuff going on too, because I'm proud of myself that I did it. When I'm proud of myself that I did something, it makes me feel good. When I feel good, I operate differently, right? So it's a total win-win-win situation, because when I feel great and I operate better, everybody around me benefits from it too.
Yep, it's so true. Like what we talk about, it's kind of like you vibrate at a different frequency, and because we're all energy, when we're feeling good and we're putting out that vibe, it's going out, right?
Yes, and so anyway, so that's the stuff I'm talking about with my clients. It's exactly that kind of stuff. Help them figure out what should be an A task, what should be delegated, and we have these conversations about it, like we do now. And one of the things I just learned is that the number one reason why business owners are stuck is fear. They fear getting out of their own way, the ego gets in the way, and then they can't push past that and stay where they are.
And that's one of your specialties, right? Is helping.
Can,
I'm getting a delay on my end. I don't know if you are.
No, it works just fine here.
Yeah, I have a delay on my end. So from what I heard, it is true. People have fear, they have ego, and that's what holds them back. And that's why they are not as successful as they can be. And that's one of your specialties, is helping people break those barriers, correct?
Yes, it's what I've experienced myself. Once I step outside my comfort zone, growth happens. When I stay within it, then I stay where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
Is it scary? Heck yeah. But I can make a choice. Like we talk about the free will, right? I have a free will to decide to either go after it and, so to speak, suck it up, or to stay where I'm at. The decision is mine.
Yes.
Exactly. I can stay where I'm at and just say, okay, well, I'm comfortable. But that's wonderful that you're comfortable. Are you going where you want to go? No. Okay. So you'd rather be comfortable than go where you want to go. I mean, ultimately, that's the question we have to ask ourselves, right? And when we honestly answer that question, then the prioritizing takes on a new role. Okay, so are we going to do those 8 tasks, those critically important tasks, like the frog, eat that frog? Are we going to eat that frog first before we tackle the easier tasks? And that's the thing. The book that Brian Tracy talks about, Eat That Frog, as I always say, it's not a culinary dish. It's meant for you to tackle the most challenging and daunting task that you really don't want to do first. Because again, afterwards, you feel great. You feel, oh, wow, this was cool. And the thing too, if we dabble in the B or C tasks, the ones that are okay, but they're not that important, yes, we're more comfortable because they're easier. But the frog is not going away. It's actually getting bigger and bigger and weighing us down. Yeah.
One of the things I discovered for myself is on the things that I don't want to do and try to do first. I even if I don't finish it, I give myself a timer. I put on music. I try to make a game out of it. So at least, and I don't know how you feel about it, but is it better to get most of it done and then to not do anything? Or, because I have anyway, I don't want to talk about what I feel sometimes, but yeah. So, but it really does help for me to put on a timer and make it kind of gamify it and make it fun.
Right. And it goes back to what we were saying earlier, how you eat an elephant, so if the task is too big or it's too daunting, if you just spend half hour on it, you feel good about it because you got a half hour closer to completion. Yeah, task completion is always better than not, but that's not always the reality.
Better to take, that's exactly what you're saying. It's better to eat an elephant, get a little bit of it done than to not do anything at all is the main takeaway. Okay, so we have just about 3 minutes left. Once again, for next week, is there any homework you would like any of the viewers to do or to have prepared for next week?
Well, so next week is a kind of standalone episode where I go into a little bit more about time blocking. But one of the things that you can try if you haven't done it, try to implement the 5 steps that we talked about at the very beginning as a quick summary from last week. And then use some of the tools that Stephanie and I have discussed to go through your list and prioritize and see if that discussion here, if that helps you go through your own list and figure out what should go where. Does it fall into the E or D category, or is it A? If you currently, for instance, don't have your own well-being, working out or whatever it is on your calendar as an A task, maybe that could be a shift. Maybe you can make that a priority between now and next week. And maybe you can even report back and say, hey, I worked out twice this week. It felt great, or whatever it is. It's those things when we don't do something that we want to do, we got to start with baby steps and say, I want to do it once or twice a week, because then again, it sets us up for success. If we want to say, oh, I'm going to do it every day, that's fantastic. But if you don't do it every day, you're going to feel like a failure. So again, start small, take baby steps in the right directions, and come back next week and share with us, your successes.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, once again, I'm having the issue where I can't figure out how to turn this off. So
all right, I'll stop the recording for right now. So thank